They told you Hathor was the goddess of love and joy, Egypt's radiant mother of music, fertility, and beauty. They said her laughter brought spring, her touch birthed abundance, and her name meant comfort to the dying and delight to the living. They painted her with cow's horns and a solar disk, the motherly counterpart to Ra's blazing crown, the celestial embodiment of warmth and compassion. But that's the mask they wanted you to see, the gentle curve of divinity hiding the fracture beneath. Because before she was the goddess of love, she was the goddess of blood. Before she was Hathor, she was Sekhmet, Ra's wrath, unleashed upon mankind when they betrayed the divine order. Her thirst for slaughter became so unquenchable that even Ra feared her. When the Nile ran red with human blood, the gods tricked her with wine to dull her fury. When she awoke, the massacre erased from her memory, she was reborn as Hathor, the deity of joy carved from the ashes of carnage. Hathor's origin is not of peace, but of penance. After her transformation, she was not freed from Sekhmet's rage. She was imprisoned within it. The ancients said her laughter hides echoes of screams, that her festivals of pleasure were rituals of containment. Every hymn sung to her was a spell to keep her dormant, to keep Sekhmet's shadow asleep beneath the perfume and gold. The wine they poured at her altars symbolized more than celebration. It was reenactment, a remembrance of that night when blood became intoxication, and intoxication became mercy. The priests of Heliopolis knew this. That's why every festival of Hathor required excess, dancing until collapse, drinking until delirium, because in their abandon they reenacted divine restraint. They fed her joy to prevent her hunger. Every cup raised in her name was an act of fear disguised as love. For if humanity ever forgot to praise her beauty, the beast beneath would stir again, and the gentle goddess would remember what she was. Hathor's love was not a gift, it was a truce. The goddess of joy is the world's apology for the goddess of vengeance. Every kiss she blesses, every birth she guards, every festival she inspires is part of that pact. Humanity must adore her to survive her. She is the balance between creation and destruction, and love in her hands is not affection, it's anesthesia, a numbing of the memory of blood. The priests rewrote her story. They buried the truth of her duality beneath temples of song and dance. They renamed the crimson fields as sacred ground, forbidding mortals to speak of the day the sky turned red. They painted her with gold to hide the iron. To the world she became the Great Mother, Lady of Jubilation, mistress of music. But in the oldest texts, hidden deep in the tombs of Dendera, she is still called Eye of Ra, the eye that sees too much, the eye that weeps not for sorrow but remembrance. Even the ritual of her temples was designed to keep her asleep. Incense to calm the spirit, drums to distract her fury, chants to pacify her hunger. But every 1,000 years the eye reopens. And when she looks upon a world drenched in deceit and imbalance, love begins to sour, and the laughter that once healed begins to sound like thunder. We worship what we fear. Humanity has always renamed its monsters to make them bearable. We call destruction renewal. We call hunger passion and wrath justice. Hathor is the embodiment of that self-deception. In her, we see our own reflection, the part of us that smiles while bleeding, that loves as a way to forget. We chase joy not because we are free, but because we are terrified of the silence beneath it. Every time we drown our pain in celebration, every time we seek pleasure to escape the weight of truth, we're reenacting Hathor's divine lie, masking trauma with beauty, turning carnage into song. That's why her story haunts those who truly see her. For in the eyes of the goddess of love, there is always recognition, a flicker that says she remembers. And if love at its root was born from the need to stop killing, what does that make it now? Is joy still divine or just another form of survival? Before Hathor became the celestial cow that carried Ra across the heavens, she was his weapon, the eye unleashed upon rebellion. When humanity defied the gods, Ra tore a fragment of his own light and cast it down to earth as Sekhmet, the lioness of slaughter. Her roar shattered mountains, her claws split the sky, and her hunger grew beyond command. For days she drank blood as wine, devouring mortals until the Nile turned scarlet. The gods pleaded with Ra, but even he could not call her back. So Thoth devised a deception. They flooded the battlefield with 7,000 jars of beer dyed red with pomegranate juice. When Sekhmet drank, believing it blood, her wrath dulled, her vision blurred, and her divine fury dissolved into laughter. In that haze of intoxicated mercy, she forgot her purpose. When she awoke, the carnage was gone and the world was calm again. But she was no longer Sekhmet. She was Hathor, her memory erased, her nature rewritten. Yet Ra knew what slumbered beneath her gentleness. That's why her temples were built beside Sekhmet's, to balance love with restraint, joy with fear. Every priest knew to praise Hathor was to keep the lioness asleep. The day the laughter stopped, the eye would reopen and creation would bleed anew. Hathor's tale is more than myth. It's a reflection of cosmic law. Every act of love conceals the echo of destruction. Every divine creation demands its shadow. Hathor and Sekhmet are not two deities. They are the same vibration split by compassion. In one frequency, it manifests as beauty, in another as fury. The ancients understood that joy without memory is hollow and wrath without empathy is blind. So they personified balance itself, teaching through her duality that harmony is not peace, it is management of chaos. Even now, the universe dances to that rhythm. Galaxies born in supernovas, hearts that break to feel alive again. The laughter of Hathor and the roar of Sekhmet are one cosmic song. The sound of creation keeping itself from devouring its own light. When mankind forgets reverence, the eye begins to tremble. The laughter fades. The Nile grows quiet. The world begins to remember the color red. And somewhere beyond the veil of light, Hathor's reflection cracks. And Sekhmet looks back through it. The goddess of joy smiles again, but this time the smile carries teeth. The festivals continue, the hymns still rise. But beneath every song of love lies a prayer of fear. The priests knew the truth. Joy is temporary, and the eye never sleeps. It only dreams. When the laughter of the world sounds hollow, look to the sun. If it stares back, unblinking, pray that it's still Hathor watching.